Hey YouTubers, Roland Martin here with another little YouTube tip that I think is really important, because I read your comments, and all the time one of the real prevalent comments, they say, well, Roland, you like to use casting tackle. Yeah, I do, more so than spinning tackle. And they say, what kind of reel should I use and what ratio reel do I need? And so I have three of my brand new Solace reels by favorite. Look at this, a brand new one. This one here is an 8.1 to 1, 8.1 to 1, really high speed, okay? This one here, another one. And this was 7.3 to 1, another really high speed reel. And the third reel is another brand new one, and it's 6.6 to 1. Okay, you go into the store to buy a reel, and they're all different ratios, and what do you need? Well, I'm going to explain really quickly what you need, and I think just you really need one of these reels for sure if you're the kind of fisherman I think you are. Well, first of all, half of you guys probably don't have a boat. Probably half of you guys work off the shoreline. So if you're going to work off the shoreline, let me just suggest this. Say you're on a stationary place and you're going to throw a worm or a jig. A worm or a jig is a perfect combination with a low-speed reel. You don't need high speed for plastic worms. You're not moving the bait very fast. You're just taking a plastic worm or a jig, you're barely moving it along. You're just barely moving it, okay? Hardly any speed to it. You don't want speed to a jig or a plastic worm. You're moving it slow, and you're stationary on the bank. So a low-speed reel, it'd be the perfect combination for, say, a plastic worm, or say a jig like this one. Okay, let's look at this this next size reel. This is a Aruka shad I designed for Spro years ago. It's kind of a faster moving bait. And one thing about these kind of lures like this is you're throwing them a long ways, but you're retrieving them a lot faster than say a worm. You're going faster. Look how fast I'm reeling it. I'm reeling it pretty fast. Okay. So you're going to need a faster speed reel than say you did with the jig, or say you did with a worm, okay? So what I've done now, I've gone to the 7.3 to 1, 7.3 to 1 ratio, because I'm making a nice long cast, okay? I'm holding my rod, I'm kind of reeling it pretty fast, you know, fairly fast. Because say a rattle trap, or even a slow moving or a medium-sized crankbait, all these kind of things would be good for, say, at 7.3 to 1 reel. Okay, now we're still on the bank. We're stationary. We're not moving. We're just standing here. Okay, that's the second choice. Now let's take this real high-speed reel. Hardly any reels are any faster high speed than this. This is a buzz bait. And a lot of times with a buzz bait, hey, you need to go real fast. I mean, you're throwing it out there, and boy, you're zooming it along the top, and look at the other thing, it's coming along fast. Look how I'm reeling. I'm reeling it fast. I'm reeling it fast. I need to get the thing in as quick as I can, because that's what happens. So buzzbait fish are kind of fast and furious. Throwing it out there, and they're just reeling along fast and fast and fast, right up on top. Okay, that's a buzzbait fish. Now, again, you're on the shoreline. But here, just for a second, I want to put the camera in the boat, and I'm going to go boat fishing. Let's do the same thing with a boat and see what happens. Okay, fishermen, now we're in the boat. Things are changing because the boat is starting to move. Okay, now watch what happens. I'm going to take this jig all of a sudden. I'm going to throw the jig on the shoreline, and before I was stationary, I didn't need to move the jig very fast. I was stationary. Let's throw to that rock way up ahead, okay? I'm not, well, I'll throw a little short. But the point is, now I got to reel pretty fast because the boat's moving. Okay, the boat's moving, so I'm reeling. I haven't even reeled the lure yet because the boat's moving pretty fast. So I'm going to need to reel pretty fast. Okay, so now as the boat moves, you have to reel faster. Okay, so all of a sudden I'm reeling kind of fast, and so I'm feeling for the line. Okay, now let's take a lure like that rattle trap. That's a faster lure. And that was on that 7.1 or 7.3 to 1. I think that's a 7.3 to 1 ratio. Now let's go fast again. Okay, we're going to go down the shoreline kind of fast. Okay, now watch what happens. I throw the lure out there. Okay, now I gotta reel pretty fast. I'm just barely getting it along. Look how fast I have to reel. I'm reeling real like crazy because the boat's moving fast. The boat's moving fast. So if you're a boat fisherman, it means if you're primarily fishing out of a moving boat and the wind's blowing and you're drifting with the wind and you're just casting the shoreline like I'm doing now, you're gonna need a higher speed reel. So are you a bank fisherman or are you a boat fisherman? Okay, here's the third reel, and this is the real high speed reel. I got the buzzbait on here. This will really show you what I'm talking about, because now the buzzbait, if I don't reel it fast enough, it sinks. Okay, I got to reel it fast, keep it on top. Okay, I'm reeling it on fast, but I'm also going fast. Okay, so now half the reeling is just the boat speed, keeping up with the boat. So that's half the time. Look how fast I'm reeling. I'm really reeling fast. So the whole issue is, are you a bank fisherman or are you a boat fisherman? Okay? If you're a bank fisherman, I'd recommend that 6.1 to reel. That would be all you'd need. Or the 7.3 would be all you'd need. If you're primarily fishing the shoreline, I think all you really need in this case is a 6.6 to 1. It'll do your job really well. It's a perfect reel. I'm going to hit that tree. Not going to hurt anything. And that's going to be fine because you're stationary and you're not moving the boat. Okay, if you're again a boat fisherman and you do a little bit of bank fishing as well, the 7.3 is the all-around reel. The 7.3 is really great, and for most of the lures, that happens to be a rattle trap. Hey, that's great for a 7.3. Let's take another lure. I have another 7.3 reel here that I really like the 7.3 the best. In fact, I'm going to recommend my favorite, because I am a boat fisherman primarily, is this 7.3 to 1 ratio. That's a chatterbait. That's a half-ounce chatterbait. Now, that's not a real fast lure, but it's a fast enough lure where you need to have the retrieve up to the point where if your boat's moving, I'm going to be able to catch up with it and keep contact with the lure pretty fine. So a 7.3 will handle my spinnerbaits, it'll handle my chatterbaits, it'll handle my worms, it'll handle even a fast crankbait. Maybe there's some occasions where you'd have a real fast drift and a real fast boat, and you might want to go to a faster reel, but personally, I'm going to take that 7.3 over even this 8.3. Now this 8.3, no, this is 8.1, I'm sorry. An 8.1, nice reel, really reels fast, it's really smooth, it's everything you want in a reel. But I don't think you need an 8.1. I think you need a 7.3 and let it go at that. Don't worry about those real high-speed reels because 7.3 is pretty fast. Now, okay, folks, I've laid out some of my favorite lures. Let me just show you on the bottom of the boat here what I recommend for a 7.3 to 1 reel. Okay, that's 7.3 to 1. Number one, my favorite spinnerbait, the Roland Martin Big Bass spinnerbait. Hey, it's perfect for 7.3 to 1. I just love it. It's just the right retrieve. Everything is fine. A frog, I just love these frogs. Any color frog as long as it's white, no. Frog's a great color. You don't have to move the frog fast. And speaking of topwater, that's a topwater lure. Any of these topwater lures, here's an old one I made. It's like a Zara spook. You don't have to work it real fast. You know, even if the boat's moving a little bit, that little topwater plug will do fine. It'll just wobble back and forth. Now, square billing, you're thinking about going along the shoreline with, say, square bills. A really good combination would be, say, a 17-pound line on the rocks at Lake Okeechobee or something like that, taking that little square bill through the logs and stumps. Hey, you don't need, a 7.3 is perfect. 7.3 is just what you want. Okay, let's take a big crankbait, a real big crankbait. You're out in Kentucky Lake, on the big ledges of Kentucky Lake. You're taking a 6XD or whatever it is, and you're burning it down the ledges. Well, you don't have to reel it all that fast. You might have to reel a little bit at first, but the boat is kind of stopped. You're not moving the boat real fast at this point. You're cranking it down deep, and you're running it kind of slow. So that, again, the 7.3 to 1 is really perfect speed for a big crankbait on the ledges, for example. Anyway, I have a lot of different lures. Probably my favorite lure of all times this year has been that 4.5 Hearttail Grub. I'm running on heavy braid in the lily pads and the heavy cover. Hey, that big old hardtail, 7.3 is the exact reel I use. I tighten that drag down tight. I hold the rod just at the right position, ready to set the hook, and hey, that thing is a fish catching machine with that 7.3 to 1 reel. So anyway, that's some of the lures I recommend. You know, years ago, we had old B.A.S.S reels. They were 4 point something to 1 or 5 point to 1 because they had bigger spools. Now we have smaller spools and they have to turn faster. That's why the ratios are higher on today's reels than they were on years ago. We had the bigger spool reels. So anyway, I hope that's straightened out what you need in a casting reel. Again, I'll recommend a 7.3 to 1. It'll do everything you need to do from bank fishing to boat fishing. Hey, thanks for staying tuned. I post my videos every Wednesday about 6 o'clock and also every Sunday about 6 o'clock. And I do a little update on the week on Fridays, like, hey, what's happening, Roland? And I give an update on actually what's going on with all my fishing and all my gallivanting around the country, or Mexico last week. But anyway, folks, I really appreciate you subscribing. These subscribing is a big deal for me because my sponsors like it, and it just keeps me in the business. And thanks a lot for subscribing. Thanks for my many loyal customers. And please watch. Hey, I enjoy doing these films. We'll see you again soon.